Welcome to this lesson on semicolons, colons, and dashes. These three punctuation marks sit between a comma and a full stop in terms of strength, and each one does a different job. Most writers either avoid them entirely or use them incorrectly. By the end of this lesson, you will know exactly when to reach for each one, and just as importantly, when a simple full stop would be better. Here's what we will cover. Semicolons for joining related clauses, colons for introducing lists, explanations, and elaborations, dashes for emphasis, asides, and parenthetical information. And finally, how to choose between these marks and a full stop. The key principle is that each mark signals a different relationship between ideas. A semicolon says these ideas are equal and related. A colon says here comes the explanation or list. A dash says here is an interruption, or something I want to emphasize. Let us start with the semicolon. Its main job is to join two independent clauses, meaning two parts that could each stand alone as a complete sentence. The project deadline was moved forward semicolon. The team had to reorganize their schedule. Both halves are complete sentences, but the semicolon tells the reader they are closely connected. You also use a semicolon before conjunctive adverbs like however, therefore, moreover, and consequently. The data was inconclusive semicolon, however, comma the committee proceeded. Notice the pattern, semicolon, then the adverb, then a comma. One common mistake is using a semicolon between a complete sentence and a fragment. Both sides must be able to stand alone as complete sentences. Now the colon. A colon essentially says here is what I mean, or here comes the list. You use it to introduce a list. The survey covered 3 areas: workplace culture, leadership effectiveness, and employee well-being. You use it to introduce an explanation. The results were clear: remote working had improved productivity. And you use it to introduce a quotation. The chairperson summarized the mood: we need to act now. The important rule is that the part before the colon should be a complete clause that makes sense on its own. A common mistake is putting a colon after a verb or preposition. Do not write the areas are culture and leadership. Either remove the colon or restructure the sentence, so the first half stands on its own. Finally, the dash. Dashes add emphasis, create dramatic pauses, or insert asides. For emphasis, the proposal was rejected for one reason: cost. That dash creates a pause that makes the reader focus on the word cost. For parenthetical asides, use a pair of dashes. The new policy dash, which took 6 months to develop, was finally approved. The information between the dashes is extra detail, like a whispered aside. You can also use a dash to expand on an idea. 3 departments exceeded their targets: marketing, finance, and operations. Notice the difference between a dash and a colon here. Both could work, but the dash adds more punch, more emphasis. A colon is more formal and neutral. A dash says pay attention to this part. Choose based on the tone you want. Let us practice choosing the right mark. Sentence 1. The findings were consistent across all regions: rural, suburban, and metropolitan. A list follows, so use a colon. Sentence 2. The first trial failed the second one succeeded beyond expectations. 2 independent clauses that contrast with each other. Use a semicolon. Sentence 3. Everyone expected gradual improvement, what they got was a complete transformation. There is a surprise, a dramatic contrast. Use a dash for that emphasis. Notice how each mark changes the feel of the sentence. The colon is matter of fact. The semicolon is balanced. The dash is punchy. Now let us see these marks improve real writing. The before version has 6 short, choppy sentences. Watch how each punctuation mark connects them. The conference had 3 keynote speakers: Dr. Patel, Professor Liu, and Minister Okafor. The colon introduces the list of names. The venue was impressive semicolon. However, the parking was inadequate. The semicolon joins 2 independent clauses. with the conjunctive adverb, however, showing contrast. One issue stood out above all others, the lack of accessible seating. The dash creates emphasis, making the reader pause and focus on the key issue. 6 sentences became 3, and the writing flows much better. Now it is your turn. Pause and choose the right mark for each one. Question 1. The report highlighted several risks: market volatility, supply chain disruption, and regulatory changes. A list is coming, so use a colon. Question 2. The deadline passed last Friday. Nevertheless, several late submissions were accepted. 2 independent clauses joined by the conjunctive adverb nevertheless. Use a semicolon. Question 3. The board approved every item on the agenda except one. There is a dramatic reveal. The dash creates that pause before the surprise. All 3 are correct, but could a full stop work in any of these? Yes. In question 2, you could use a full stop instead. That is always a valid option when you have 2 independent clauses. Let us recap. Semicolons join 2 related independent clauses and appear before conjunctive adverbs like however and therefore. Colons introduce a list, explanation, or elaboration, and the part before the colon must be a complete clause. Dashes add emphasis, create a dramatic pause, or insert an aside. Use a pair of dashes for parenthetical information. A full stop is always a safe alternative to a semicolon. If you are unsure, use a full stop instead. And the golden rule for choosing between these marks: think about the relationship between your ideas. Equal and related? Semicolon. Here comes the detail. Colon. Surprise or emphasis. Dash. It is better to use a full stop than to misuse any of these marks.